my opponent, Governor Romney, his main calling card for why he thinks he should be president is his business experience. If your main argument for how to grow the economy is, I knew how to make a lot of money for investors, then you're missing what this job is about.
That, of course, the president earlier this week sounding off in the debate over Romney's history at Bain Capital. And Andrew, there certainly was a response to this.
There was. The whole issue moved center stage again last weekend. This after Newark Mayor Cory Booker, in his appearance on Meet the Press, called attack ads on both sides, quote, nauseating, and even condemned Obama's campaign ads as an attack on private equity. What ads were making the Newark mayor nauseous? Well, a series of spots called Romney Economics from the Obama campaign. Here's a part of one of those ads.
Having a good paying job that you can support and raise a family on is hugely important.
That stopped with the sale of the plant to Bain Capital. They weren't concerned about your health. It was like working in the sweatshops of the 30s.
It was like a vampire. He came in and sucked the life out of us.
We view Mitt Romney as a job destroyer.
As for the Romney campaign, they pounced at the chance to use the words of President Obama's own surrogates against him. Almost immediately, Camp Romney churned out this rebuttal.
Have you had enough of President Obama's attacks on free enterprise? His own key supporters have.
I have to just say, from a very personal level, I'm not about to sit here and indict private equity.
Private equity is not a bad thing. Matter of fact, private equity is a good thing in many instances.
And I don't think there's anything Bain Capital did that they need to be embarrassed about.
If you look at the totality of Bain Capital's record, they've done a lot to support businesses, to grow businesses.
Even Obama's own supporters have had enough.
It's nauseating to the American public. Enough is enough.
So it's a tough ad. The question is it a winning issue for either candidate? A new poll suggests not so much and pretty much states the public mostly ambivalent or at least unknowledgeable about Bain's past. But when asked how much difference Romney's business experience would make in helping him deal with the economy, most people seem to think that his background was an asset, 59%. Rich?
This much we know, the Obama campaign is not moving off this issue. In fact, they're going to double down on it. Cory Booker's political future, we'll talk about it another time. That said, Tom, if you're going to see more and more people saying, I'm a middle-class American, this guy came in, when he came in I had a job, when he left, I was left out on the street, his pockets got deeper, mine are empty. How's that not hurt Mr. Romney between now and November?
Well, I mean, I think that most people are going to look at the election and say, this president has been president for the last 4 years and I still don't have a job, and that's what they're going to really care about. The Bain situation, when you have three very prominent Democrats, four I guess, say that Bain and private equity is not a problem in this country, I mean, that says it all right there. You know, listen, we elected basically, let's be honest about this, okay? We elected a United States senator who was there for 2 years and spent 2 years running for president, and before that was a community organizer. And so now we're going to take a guy who has taken part in Bain Capital, was in the private equity business, which is something that many Americans take part in. They buy businesses, they sell business. It's part of the capitalistic society we survive in. And if that's the focus of the election, I think Romney will be okay with that. 10 years ago,
I get your argument.
Yeah, why is it
But
not
we're
an argument
forgetting
now?
what happened 4 years ago, which was that Wall Street, if you poll them in the American public, was a less than beloved institution, let alone profession.
But Richard,
and
you tell me,
just one more thing, and I don't want to get into Bain, good or bad, because I got my own opinions on it, but more the public, Dom. Do they say, hey, you know what? I'll take the record of Romney over, or do they look at the record of Romney and say he was certainly a successful businessman, but he did it at the public's expense? Which way does it work?
There are a couple of things. There's a point to be made for Tom's argument. But for those Democrats that you're pointing to, saying that they're pointing equity, I say to you, look at their own fundraising numbers and see who's providing their campaign dollars. Because I have a funny feeling that has a lot to do.
Ratner?
No, I'm talking about.
Ratner?
I'm talking about the governor of Massachusetts. Massachusetts and the mayor of Newark, where their fundraising dollars come from. If you don't think this is a legitimate issue, ask the people of Ohio's and the Pennsylvanias that lost their jobs and see which way they're going to vote.
If Mitt Romney didn't want his work at Bain Capital to be a campaign issue, he should have not raised it as an example of why he was qualified to be president.
Thank you.
Mitt Romney hasn't
come up
created
anyway.
we don't know that. Mitt Romney hasn't created one job in his life. He financed guys with ideas who created jobs, but if he wants to take credit for that, then he ought to take responsibility for those financial
Well,
deals
the
he
thing is,
made
you said,
that
Andrew, we're
destroyed
going to
jobs.
find out, and we're going to find out, especially in those swing states in the Rust Belt of this country.